She does not test you because she is unsure. She tests you because she feels something real and dangerous for her heart. When a woman is drawn to an older man, she is quietly asking one question: are you solid, or will you crack the moment it gets uncomfortable? She watches how you handle silence, pressure, and moments where most men try too hard. One reaction can change everything. Pass this test, and her attraction deepens in ways words cannot explain. Fail it, and she pulls back without warning. Stay with me until the end, because what I am about to share is the difference between being desired and being dismissed. Comment your location below and subscribe to the channel for more. When a woman is genuinely drawn to an older man, the first thing she pays attention to is not his money, his looks, or even his confidence on the surface. She watches how he handles emotional pressure. This is where attraction quietly reveals itself. Emotional control is not about being cold or detached. It is about being steady. Life has already tested him, and she wants to know if he learned from it, or if he is still reacting the way he did years ago. She may challenge him in subtle ways: a sharp comment, a sudden disagreement, a moment of silence where most people rush to fill the space. These moments are not accidents, they are invitations. She is observing whether he feels the need to defend himself, explain his value, or seek validation. The moment a man starts proving himself emotionally, the dynamic shifts. Authority fades when approval becomes the goal. An older man who understands this does something different. He listens without flinching. He responds without urgency. He allows disagreement to exist without treating it as a threat. This communicates a powerful message. His sense of self does not depend on being understood or agreed with. That calm presence creates safety, and safety is where attraction grows when desire becomes serious. Psychologically, this matters because emotional regulation signals competence. In both philosophy and human behavior, we trust those who can govern themselves before attempting to lead or connect with others. A man who cannot manage his own emotional responses cannot provide stability. A woman senses this long before she can explain it. She feels it in his tone, his pacing, his silence. There is also restraint in emotional control. Restraint shows choice. He is not suppressing emotion. He is choosing when and how to express it. This distinction separates maturity from repression. Anyone can react. Few can respond. That difference is what sets experienced men apart. This is why attempts to impress often backfire. Trying too hard reveals insecurity, not confidence. Emotional composure, on the other hand, reveals alignment. His actions match his words. His reactions match his values. Over time, consistency builds trust, and trust amplifies attraction far beyond surface-level chemistry. As this dynamic unfolds, she begins to relax. Her tests soften. Curiosity replaces caution. She is no longer checking for cracks because she feels the foundation is solid. Emotional control does not demand attention. It earns respect quietly. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. Attraction deepens not when you try to hold someone, but when you are strong enough not to chase their approval. Master your reactions, and you master the room. Once emotional control is established, the next test appears almost automatically. It is the test of boundaries. This is where many men, regardless of age, lose ground without realizing it. Boundaries are not walls, they are definitions. They quietly communicate what you value, what you tolerate, and how you expect to be treated. When a woman is drawn to an older man, she is not trying to take from him. She is trying to understand him. She may shift plans at the last minute, ask for more time than you initially offered, or gently push into areas of your life that are personal. None of this has to be dramatic. In fact, it is often subtle enough to be mistaken for chemistry or spontaneity. But psychologically, it is a probe. She is asking whether his life has structure or whether it reshapes itself around her presence. A man with weak boundaries reacts quickly. He overaccommodates. He adjusts his schedule, his opinions, and sometimes even his principles to keep the connection smooth. This may look generous, but it communicates instability. If his time is endlessly available, it loses value. If his standards bend easily, they stop feeling real. Attraction fades not because he cared too much, but because he cared without direction. A grounded man responds differently. He does not punish, lecture, or withdraw. He simply remains consistent. If plans change, he adapts without resentment, but he does not abandon his priorities. If a request crosses a line, he addresses it calmly and directly. This is not control, it is clarity. Clarity creates respect because it removes confusion. From a philosophical standpoint, boundaries are an expression of self-knowledge. You cannot protect what you have not defined. When a man knows his limits, he moves through relationships with intention rather than reaction. This signals maturity. It tells her that he is not seeking completion through her, but connection with her. There is also something deeply reassuring about someone who does not disappear into a relationship. Independence is not distance, it is stability. A man who maintains his routines, responsibilities, and values while still showing interest demonstrates balance. Balance is rare, and rarity creates attraction. Over time, her tests shift again. She stops pushing because there is nothing to push against. She feels safe because the frame is clear. She knows where she stands, and she knows where he stands. That mutual understanding creates trust, and trust allows intimacy to deepen without anxiety. The reflection here is simple and challenging. If you do not set boundaries, others will set them for you. Respect grows where clarity lives, and attraction follows those who know where they begin and where they end. After emotional control and clear boundaries, the final test is the most revealing. It is the test of authenticity. This is where attraction either becomes real or quietly fades. A woman who is drawn to an older man is not looking for perfection. She is looking for congruence. She wants to know if who he presents to the world matches who he is when there is nothing to gain. This test shows up in conversation more than behavior. She asks questions that seem casual but are not. She listens for consistency. She notices whether his stories change depending on the audience, whether his values shift to match the moment, and whether his confidence stays intact when he is not being admired. Authenticity is not about oversharing or performing vulnerability. It is about coherence. Many men fail this test by trying to impress. They exaggerate experience, soften convictions, or mirror her opinions to maintain approval. This creates short-term comfort but long-term doubt. Psychologically, humans trust patterns, not promises. When words and actions drift apart, the nervous system senses it immediately. Attraction cannot survive in a space that feels unstable or rehearsed. An authentic man does not rush to be liked. He allows disagreement without defensiveness. He is willing to be misunderstood without correcting every assumption. This signals inner alignment. Philosophically, this reflects integrity, the state of being whole rather than divided. A person who is divided internally cannot offer clarity externally. Authenticity also requires patience. It unfolds over time. Consistency in tone, behavior, and values creates predictability, and predictability builds trust. This is why the older man who remains the same across settings stands out. He does not perform confidence. He embodies it. There is no gap between who he is and how he shows up. When she senses this, something shifts. The testing stops because there is nothing left to verify. Curiosity becomes admiration. Admiration becomes emotional investment. She feels safe not because he promises security, but because his presence does not fluctuate. This is where many misunderstand attraction. It is not fueled by constant excitement. It is sustained by reliability, not routine, but reliability. Knowing that the person in front of you is real, steady, and self-directed creates space for deeper connection. The closing insight is this: you do not build attraction by becoming more. You build it by becoming more yourself, without apology or performance. When who you are requires no explanation, the right people recognize it immediately.